YouTube. And welcome back to your Daily Penguin. This is our tour through my Penguin Classic wall, book by book, author by author, era by era. I worried yesterday that we might not get through this in 2020, in the year 2020, because there are quite a few books. A lot of the ones that you can see, let me dim the light just a bit here. A lot of the ones that you can see behind me are double stacked. So that increases our task quite a bit. And the thing that's going to save us, the thing, if anything does, the thing that's going to save us and get us through the end of the year and the Penguin Wall at the same time is bulk viewing. And I already know that I'm going to get a lot of resistance from a lot of you on bulk viewing, because you're going to want me to go through every single book individually, regardless. Like, for instance, today, earlier on, we saw the gorgeous Penguin Classic Deluxe Edition of the one-volume novels of Jane Austen. Beautiful thing. Karen Joy Fowler, forward, deckled edges, the French flaps, and all that. A wonderful one-volume Jane Austen for me. I don't have any other. I don't have any... Oh, no, I do. I have the Modern Library collected novels of Jane Austen in the other room. In hardcover. But I don't... That isn't all that I have, because I also, in Penguin, I also have the Penguin Classics of Jane Austen, of the individual books. I have Lady Susan and the Juvenilia and whatnot, but also Mansfield Park, Mansfield Park, Sense and Sensibility, Northanger Abbey, The Way We Live Now, Tale of Two Cities, The House at Pooh Corner. No, I should be able to do this. Why do people watch this channel again? It's Northanger Abbey, it's Mansfield Park, it's Sense and Sensibility, it's Emma, and it's Pride and Prejudice, but I'm leaving one out, aren't I? Am I leaving one out? Persuasion. Oh, The Ugly Stepchild. I always forget Persuasion. I left out Persuasion. And I have the Penguin Classic Deluxe Edition of the collected novels, but I also have all of these alone, each individually, in these Penguin Classics. There's Emma, the great Emma. This is the edition of Sense and Sensibility that I have. Sense and Sensibility always has two women on the cover. There's Mansfield Park. These are just a standard Penguin Classic single volumes where you get the introduction, you get notes, all dedicated to the work. There's Northanger Abbey. There's my battered trade paperback of Pride and Prejudice, which I'm a huge fan of Pride and Prejudice. And there's poor Persuasion, that I forget always when I go through the novels. And this is what I meant by some of you feeling the need to object, because a lot of you are going to want me to go through each one of these and talk about them individually. But really, does BookTube need more conversation about each one of these things individually? I've talked about these things many, many times. But the reason that I have the individual ones in addition to the Penguin Classic Deluxe Edition is because sometimes that's what you want. Right? Sometimes, I love the Deluxe Edition, but sometimes you're in the mood to just read the one book. Clearly, for my sins, it must be Persuasion. Clearly, I must read Persuasion. Maybe I should add that to my reading for next week. I couldn't bear to get rid of these things. I don't have anything else. I don't have the Oxford set of Jane Austen. I don't have any other sets of Jane Austen. Dover did one that was kind of nice a long time ago. I just have these, but I don't feel that it's excessive. I have the hardcover Modern Library. I have the Penguin Classic Deluxe Edition of the collected novels, and then I have these individual ones because sometimes that is what I feel like. Usually, like I mentioned when we were looking at the Deluxe Edition, usually when I want to reread a Jane Austen novel, like last year I reread Sense and Sensibility. Oh no, that was 2 years ago. I reread Sense and Sensibility. If I want to reread a Jane Austen novel, usually I will grab that collected Jane Austen. I love it. I love the way it feels in the hand. I love the way it flops open and stays open. I love it. But sometimes not. And when that happens, it's nice to have these individual books. And that gets us through half a shelf in one video as opposed to 6 videos. So I know there'll be objections, but I'm going to stick with this. Now, the howls that will happen because of Jane Austen if I do this, I can just imagine what those howls will be like if I do this for Anthony Trollope. But I might. Right? Because we do Anthony Trollope read-alongs on this channel where we spend a whole month with one book. We shall see. We shall see. We're going to have to face this problem because it's not going to be the only time. There's half a shelf of Tolstoy. There's at least a shelf of Dickens. We will see. We'll see how we get along with these things. But in the meantime, of course, this is a recommend. It doesn't really matter. Jane Austen has their annotated editions from Harvard and from Norton. There are mass market paperbacks. There are one-volume sets. With Jane Austen, I'm not really so picky about telling you what I prefer, because Jane Austen is one of those canonical authors who can hold her own. Absolutely hold her own. In other words, you could get a set of her novels with no critical apparatus whatsoever, and you would love them. And most people who have fallen in love with Jane Austen have fallen in love with her for exactly that way. The recommendation cannot be any higher, even for poor, despised, and forgotten Persuasion. But for Pride and Prejudice and Emma, oh my, the recommendation can't get any higher than that. The one thing that seems to be missing is a complete, there was somebody, I don't know if it was Penguin or not, somebody did a gorgeous box set of little decorative hardcovers of the whole set of Jane Austen. A very beautiful box set. I don't have that. And I might like that, but it would be a total frivolity, because most of the time I just grab that big one volume. So that's your Penguin Classic for today. It's the novels of somebody named Jane Austen. And I strongly recommend them all, except for the volume that you're not seeing, the Lady Susan volume, the Sanditon volume. There's always a Jane Austen volume that collects all of the ephemera and the bits and pieces. And I have that. I think that's on the shelf somewhere, but that is just a curiosity for Janeites. But the rest of these are required reading. They are incredible. So that's your Penguin for today. It's Jane Austen, and we'll move on tomorrow. We'll see if we hit another block or if we have a standalone thing. Thank you, BookTube.